स्वामिनि ते नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
Hare Krishna. I welcome you back to my series of Mahabharata lesser known stories. We are starting episode 4. If you want to see the other episodes, you can actually log in to the playlist of this video series where all the other episode links are provided. In this episode, we are continuing the discussion on the stories which are important but lesser discussed in the event of Mahabharata. Today, we will talk about a new series which is the dynasty of the Nagas or snake dynasty. In Mahabharata, if you see, the snakes play very important role because if we know that Bhimsen went to the Nagalok and he came back becoming almost several times mightier. Arjun got married to the Naga princess Ulupi. And also we know the famous story of Takshak biting Parikshit Maharaj and for which Srimad Bhagavatam plays into being. So Nagas are very important, and in Mahabharata Adi Parva, which I am discussing in past 3 episodes, it is very clearly given how the Naga dynasty appearance or they came into being in this world. Nagas are very old and primeval kind of species because we see that Nagraj Vasuki is holding the earth. Also we see Sheshnag. On Sheshnag, Mahavishnu is taking his bed. So therefore Nagas are very old. But how those Nag Kula in this material world came into being is the topic of discussion and which is discussed in our Itihas like Mahabharata, and from Adi Parva I am taking it. So before starting the series, I pay my obeisances to Vyasdev, Devi Saraswati, and also none other than Sri Narayan, because without their blessing, a single word in Mahabharata cannot be told. As I told in the previous episode, Jato Jaya Mudirayat, Jaya is the name of the Mahabharata, and before telling anything about Mahabharata, we need to pay our obeisances, take their blessings. Also, I am discussing about the great pious souls. I need their blessing so that I can say a few words which you will like to listen and which will actually increase your inquisitiveness to read more about scriptures. Now, in this series, let us start our discussion on the Naga dynasty's appearance. In the past episode, we have talked about the birth of Chavan Rishi. Chavan Rishi was son of Bhrigu Rishi and he was also a very great sage. Now, after Chavan Rishi, his son became Pramoti, and Pramoti had a son, his name was Ruru. Now, Pramoti Rishi and Ruru Rishi both were very powerful and knowledgeable Rishi, and Ruru got married to a very beautiful lady. Her name was Pramodwara. Now, Pramodwara and Ruru were living very happily and they were doing well, but suddenly one day Pramodwara got bitten by a snake and she died immediately. Now Ruru was very upset. She could not tolerate the separation from his wife and he was crying inconsolably. When he was crying all day, all long, continuously, the devatas felt that this is not a good being, good thing, or good omen for a rishi. So they sent the devadutas to console him. Devadutas came and told Ruru Mahashaya that why are you crying? Because it is not a common thing that a rishi like you should get attached to somebody, because a person who takes birth, whether he or she has to die, it is written in the universal truth. But Ruru was inconsolable and he was telling, somehow I want my wife back, because she was young. And also another important thing, that Ruru and his wife gave birth to a girl called Manka. She was very young and it was difficult for Ruru to manage. So Devadut told that you need to go to Yamraj and beg his life. So Ruru took body of Pramadwara and took to Yamraj, and Yamraj finally said, the only way you can get her life back, you will have to give half of your life to her. So Ruru agreed, and therefore his wife came into life again, and they started living happily again. But Ruru then had a one-point agenda, that he was a very big hater of the snakes. Whenever and wherever he was looking a snake, he was actually killing him. So it was a very disturbing situation. So one day, when Ruru was roaming in the forest for killing one snake, he could meet one big python or ajagar snake whose name was Dundubi. Now Dundubi said, "Oh priest, why are you killing me? I have not done anything wrong to you. In fact, throughout my life, I have not done anything wrong to anyone." Then he said that I am killing all snakes because one snake has actually bitten my wife and she had to die. Dundubi said that although you are looking me as a snake, but I am actually is not a snake. In my past life, I was actually son of a rishi and I was a Gandharva by birth. But what happened, one day while playing, I had a friend called Chitrasen and I frightened him with a snake made of the palm tree leaves. So the Chitrasen was so anxious looking at the snake, he got fainted. And his father was very powerful rishi, and he cursed me that I convert into a important snake. Since then I am living in this jungle as an important snake. So by killing me, you are not going to get any glories. So he said that, then but I have got a lot of anger against the snake. How do I handle it? So he said, you need to hear the story of the Astika Muni and Janmenjay, how they started the Sarpeshti Yagga and how they ended. So Ruru Mahashaya came back. He asked his father, Pramoti, that tell me the story of Janmenjay. And Pramoti said that this is a story of entire Mahabharata, you will have to listen. And if you want to listen this story is going to unfold many years later. But since you are interested, I will tell you the story. So that story started. So when they started the story, his father talked about, first one says his name is Jaratkaru. Now who is Jaratkaru? Jaratkaru is actually a descendant of a dynasty called Jajavar. Jajavar, if we translate in English, is called nomad. But in those days, Jajavar dynasty was very famous. And Jaratkaru was a rishi. He was very knowledgeable. He knew all four Vedas, all Puranas, and he used to roam around all around the jungle, all around the world completely naked. Because he was so knowledgeable, for him the bodily shame or all these things had got no meaning actually. Now, Jaratkaru was roaming around like that, and he was least interested in the material world. But one day when he entered a big dense forest, he saw that there are four old men. They are sitting across a tree and they are holding the roots of the tree. So he was very surprised and he asked, "Oh old people, why are you holding the root of the tree?" Then the old people said, "Don't you see that this tree had many roots, but mice have eaten all the roots. Only this root is remaining. and if we do not protect it, if this root is also eaten, the whole tree will fall. So Jaratkaru did not understand this. He was very learned person, but he did not understand. He said, sorry, I do not understand what are you saying. You need to tell me the detail. Then the old people said, we are ancestors of a very famous dynasty tree which is called Jajabar. And in our dynasty, one nincompoop rascal fellow has taken birth. He has decided he will do only studies and he will not get married. See, if he doesn't get married, he will not get a son. And if the son is not there, our dynasty is going to end. Then Jaratkaru said, I am so sorry listening to that, fathers. I am the person whose name is Jaratkaru and I have decided to not getting married. I never knew I am giving so much of pain to you. You tell me what I can do for you so that I can relieve your pain. His ancestors said, O Jaratkaru, good, you saw us. Mice are nothing but the kal or the time which is eating our dynasty, and the roots of the dynasty is nothing but the root of our dynasty tree. So if you want to protect it, please get married and also give birth to a child. Jaratkaru then was in a fix. He decided that he will not get entangled to any material existence, so he was thinking what he can do. And by that time, there was an announcement from the heaven and from the sky he could hear, which was told, "Oh Jaratkaru, you need to get married within 1 year. Otherwise, your dynasty will not be there." So Jaratkaru then was roaming around again. He used to go to the entire forest and used to shout, but he had two conditions. One condition is he will get married to a lady whose name is same as him, and second, the lady and his family should offer the lady's hand to him on his own and by no forcing. So he used to go to a forest and used to shout these two conditions. One day, one of the dense forest, when he shouted this, Nagraj Vasuki's one assistant was standing nearby. He went running to Nagraj Vasuki and said that the great sage Jaratkaru has decided to get married and his conditions are as follows. Nagraj Vasuki immediately came to meet Jaratkaru Rishi, and with folded hand he said, "Please accept my sister as your wife, because my sister's wife name is also Jaratkar, and by mercy of Lord Brahma, it was decided that she has to get married to Jaratkaru only." Jaratkaru said that, "How do I know you are telling truth?" He said, "If you don't believe me, you ask Lord Brahma, he will tell you. And that's how, through your marriage, another dynasty will continue to remain." So Nagraj Vasuki got married, his sister Jaratkar married to Jaratkaru, and their family tree continued. Hearing all these things, the sages of the Naimisharanya, if you remember in the first episode I told that the Sauti Muni was giving this story to the Naimisharanya sages about Mahabharata, they said, "You tell us all other details. What was the compulsion of Nagraj Vasuki to get his sister married to a learned Brahmin and not a prince or not a king?" Then Nagraj Vasuki said, "In that case, you need to know the dynasty of the snakes from the beginning." So the Rishi Kashyap had two wives. One was Kadru, another was Binata. Kadru and Binata were actually two sisters. They got married to Rishi Kashyap. Now Kadru and Binata wanted children from Rishi Kashyap. So they did austerity for many years, and Rishi Kashyap was happy with them and he agreed to give children. Kadru asked that, "I want to generate a species which is hitherto unfound in earth and who will be like snakes, and equivalent of the snakes which you see in the spiritual world. And I want 1,000 such snakes to take birth from my womb, from my body." And Rishi said, "Okay, tathastu." And Binata said, "I want only 2 children from you, and both the children should be more powerful than the children of my sister." The Kashyap Rishi even said tathastu to her as well. Giving such benediction, Kashyap Rishi went for doing meditation in the dense forest, and the two sisters were staying happily in their home. Now, after some 500 years of austerity, the Kodru gave birth to 1,000 eggs, and each egg finally transformed to very powerful snake. And Vinata was very upset because nothing has come out from her, and she was feeling that how this can happen. So finally, she gave birth to two eggs, and both the egg were supposed to get birth of the children after some another 1,000 years. But it was very difficult for her to wait, and she actually, after many years, she actually broke open one of the egg to see what is the child look like. And as soon as he broke open the egg, a very powerful person came out. He had a human face, human body, but half of the body was of a bird. And this person was very, very angry with his mother. He said, by breaking the egg half, you did not allow me to groom to a full-grown man which I desired to have. So I curse you, my mother, that you will continue to be the slave of your sister throughout your life. Then his mother was crying very madly that why you gave this kind of, because you have this kind of curses will ruin my life. So then this child said, oh, no problem, there is one more egg left, and that egg contains the life of very, very powerful being. So please do not break it. Allow this to come out on his own, and he will make you free from that slavery. And he will be more powerful than all the snake children of your sister's birth. So the first child which took birth and which gave cards, his name was Arun. Arun, we all know, is actually charioteer of sun god Surya. And Arun is a eternal servant of sun god, and he always stays with him and goes everywhere, takes sun everywhere where he desires to go. And after another 500 years of waiting, the next child which came out is a very powerful person. He had a beak like a eagle, and he has a blue body of a human being, but very big wing. And this person, his name was Gaduda. And Gaduda was, we all know, is carrier of Lord Vishnu himself. And Gaduda is worshipped almost everywhere wherever Lord Vishnu's temple is there. So Gaduda immediately became hater of the snakes. And because he was destined to free his mother, he fought all with the snakes, defeated them, and freed her mother from the slavery of Kodru. So Vinata got free, and Gaduda eventually became the hater of the snakes, and the snake dynasty also multiplied and produced many children to take care of Gaduda. But the question is, why Nagraj Vasuki gave marriage to his sister to Jaratkaru Rishi? Because Nagraj Vasuki knew that he required snakes which are more powerful than Garuda, and that would have been only possible if they are born out of a very powerful learned sage or learned rishi like Jaratkaru. So this episode where we see this is the starting of the Naga Kulas, and Nagas are very important in Mahabharata. We will end this episode here, and we will come back another interesting story in the next episode. We sincerely thank you for being with us and request you to continue to be viewer of these episodes, because this will tell you many stories which are generally not discussed in our normal media, and they are very important to understand the perplexity of Mahabharata. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.